James Farmer, Elements of Speech, Informative Speech. Milwaukee, our home, our residence, for some of us, or maybe for none of us, but I guarantee you probably live close around the area. I mean, due to the fact that we all go to MATC, right? But being from Milwaukee, we pretty much know our surroundings and recognize things around us, you know. But we rarely think about where it all started, the origins. Where did this place come from, and who created this place? Who's the founder of this place? Things of that nature. Now, there's many establishments and areas and places that has its own history and that is connected with hundreds of people or even thousands of people, but time is a factor, so unfortunately we don't have the time for it. But I do want to explore with you the origins and the early history of the city of Milwaukee and how everything got started, our history, our Milwaukee history, our city's history. Now, starting off with a man named Jacques Viau, a French Canadian fur trader. He's from Montreal, Canada. Viau first came to Wisconsin on a business venture and first landed in Green Bay to conduct business with other business traders and businessmen. Just being himself. Doing his occupation, doing his job basically. Um, while on his trip to Wisconsin and landed in Green Bay, he met this a lady, a young woman named Angelica Roy, which was a granddaughter of a former Native American Cherokee, I'm sorry, not Cherokee, but Potawatomi Indian chief. His name is Augusta. Jacques married her and had 12 children. A lot of children, right? Um, Viau was employed by the Northwest Company, which was a trading company. And after his experience and years of experience, he actually eventually started his own trading post and trading outpost in the Wisconsin area, including Kewaunee, Manitowoc, Sheboygan, and Milwaukee, which at the time was just an area east of Lake Michigan, and as we know, as Milwaukee today. Jacques is credited for the first house built in this area, in the Milwaukee area, and for the first settlement by anyone in history. But this doesn't make him a co-founder of the city of Milwaukee because simply he didn't purchase land. Although he did, well, he was the first to live here, but he didn't purchase land. It was just basically a vacation home or a winter vacation home for him, and that's pretty much what it was. So he didn't do anything to upstart the history of Milwaukee. Now, the next was to settle was a man named Solomon Juno, who also was a Canadian. Um, he worked for a trading company as well, a fur trading company as well, but he was just a clerk at the time in Fort Mission, Nemackinac, which was located in the Lower Peninsula, um, which is current state. It's currently Michigan right now. At the time, it was just the Lower Peninsula, Missinacinac. That was the name of it. I didn't create it. Um, basically, after 2 years working as a clerk, Juno became an agent on a more professional level of a trader for the American Fur Company. And that same year, he settled east of the Milwaukee River, where he bought a huge amount of land and later named that land Junotown. Solomon later married Jacques' oldest daughter, Josette, and together they bought and sold large plots of land and around Junotown, in addition to building the first Milwaukee store, the first Milwaukee Inn, like a hotel, he established the Milwaukee Center, which later became the longest continuously operating company in the state of Wisconsin. With all of Juno became recognized. With all of this, Juno became recognized as the leader of the newcomers of Milwaukee, and eventually became Milwaukee's first mayor. Um, Third to settle was a man named Byron Kilbourne. Now, along with Juno, you recognize Juno Street, Byron Kilbourne, Kilbourne Street. It's starting to make sense, right? Now, Byron Kilbourne came to Milwaukee. After he came to Milwaukee, there were already many people living here. A lot of people living here, and especially due to Juno's influence and settle and so due to Juno's influence, he influenced other people to move to Milwaukee and live here, including immigrants as well. Um, Kilbourne is an American. Yeah, he was born in Connecticut, born into a rich family. Him and his family moved to Ohio, which in fact his father James Kilbourne helped found it, Worthington, Ohio. So that connection is there. Retrieving game from his father, and people game from his father, and knowing how to do what. So that was important for him. And for years he worked as an inspector and a state engineer. Kilbourne heard about Milwaukee from new settlers that was in Connecticut or in Ohio, and he heard about the new coming of the city and decided to visit, and which he did. And I guess he liked what he saw, so what Byron Kilbourne decided to do was purchase land west of the Milwaukee River, which he named Kilbourne Town. Kilbourne, he established many businesses and sold plots of land, such as the same thing as Solomon did. And things that he did was establish the city of West Bend as well, and Wisconsin Dale, becoming the president of the Milwaukee Mississippi Railroad. Later, starting his own railroad from Milwaukee to La Crosse, and Kilbourne also became mayor of Milwaukee, making him the second. Third to settle was a man named George H. Walker. He's the third founder. He's American from Virginia, also born into a rich family. He moved to Illinois, not too far from Wisconsin, just right below us. So it was he heard about Milwaukee, the upcoming and the new city that was being established, things like that, and he did this. He took the same route that Kilbourne did. He decided to visit and see what he could find, see what type of business ventures that he could take advantage of, and he liked what he saw, and he basically established Walker's Point. Um, he was the first Milwaukee person to create the Milwaukee street cards. He served many positions as a politician, like the Wisconsin State Assembly and Wisconsin Treasurer, representative, and Milwaukee Supervisor, Land Office Register, and he became the third mayor of Milwaukee. You know, um, Now after all of this, Milwaukee is pretty much, is established already, because these guys they bought up huge plots of land, sold it, and and before you knew it, Milwaukee was a full city. Hundreds of thousands of people. Maybe 100,000. It wasn't quite where it is right now. Probably 80, 90,000 people. But there was one thing missing: a name. Milwaukee didn't have a name at the time. Um, the area of Milwaukee was originally inherited by many Indians: the Menominee, the Fox, the Mascouten, the Stock, the Potawatomi, the Ojibwe, and the Ho Chunk Native Americans. And many Europeans and immigrant settlers simply asked the native people, what was this land called? Now, um, this land was named, um, it had many different names, by many different tribes and Indian tribes. It had very weird names. It was similar to our name now, but it just didn't sound the same. Some of those names were, for example, Milwaukee, Milwaukee. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but Milwaukee, Milwaukee, and Milwaukee, which the last one stuck because what Milwaukee means is the gathering place by the waters, which represents the three rivers of that's in Milwaukee: the Kinnickinnick, the Milwaukee River, and Menominee River. And that stuck because it was important because like this is the place where those three rivers meet, and basically that's how Milwaukee got its name. Um, and yeah, that's just basically how Milwaukee got its name. There's no really spectacular story about it, anything like that. That's just what it was. These three men, they set the foundation for almost 600,000 people today, and with a rich history, um, to allow others in history to contribute to the city and the state in many categories. Things like beer, cheese, sports, art, agriculture. So it's something to think about. Next time when you in a street corner and you see Walker's Point or you see Juno Street or you see Kilbar Street, things like that. And through your history, you can find many other different um, people in history that contribute to the city that was influenced by these three men. And also Jacquees, which wasn't the co-founder, but he was the first settler. So and so it's something important to think about. It's probably not important to you, but it's pretty cool, I guess. Trivia, something you tell your friends and things like that. And yeah, and so like I said, something to think about, and it's something to be proud of. So thank you, and that's it. Thanks.